Alright, welcome back to another Mark Talk. This is the third episode of the series. And in this episode, I want to talk about getting into the top 1%. Yeah, you've heard that buzzword all the time. Oh, you got to get into the top 1% of men. You got to be a top 1% this and that. I personally believe that shouldn't be your goal, because to become a top 1% individual is relatively easy when you look at the competition. To be in the top 1%, you have to eat right, don't do drugs, don't smoke, be smart, don't be an idiot, don't go out getting yourself into trouble, right? All that stuff. Do well in school, and if you have a sport, let's talk about basketball, outwork other people. Maybe just work out once a day for an hour, and you're in the top 1% right there. So it shouldn't be your goal to be a top 1% guy. It should be your goal to get past that top 1%. See, here's what they don't tell you about that, is to get into the top 1% is easy, but once you're in the top 1%, it's such a cringe, weird number, but once you get into that relative 1%, the competition is fierce for the rest of it. That 0.9% to the 0.1% is ridiculous. That is why it is so hard to succeed. Because, yeah, there might be some people out there that are willing to work hard to get to the top 1%, but then there's even less people that are willing to work hard enough to get to the 0.1%. And that's the difference. And when you look at, for example, high school, because that's what I'm in right now and I can clearly see it, most guys aren't willing to work that hard because, well, they have lives outside of what they do. For example, basketball, they have lives outside of that, right? They got a social life. They got, other things they got going on. They have things to do. So if you want to separate yourself, if you want to dominate high school basketball, if you want to dominate any aspect of life, you have to outwork everybody else, and that requires sacrifice. That's why most people don't want to do it. And it's taking a risk on yourself. You have to bet on yourself that you will succeed, and that's a tough bet to make. Because I think about it, will I regret sacrificing all my time and energy to basketball years down the line if it all doesn't work out? And the answer is no. I won't regret it, because my results, I don't care about all that crap. I care about the here and now, and the fact is, I enjoy what I do. So I'm not worried about, oh, what if a couple years down the line I somehow get a career-ending injury? Oh, I tear this muscle. It could happen, right? I'm hoping it doesn't, but, if it's God's will that I stop playing basketball, I'm going to stop playing basketball, right? So you have to ask yourself that question. And in my personal opinion, if you can't honestly say to yourself, I'm not going to regret it, you probably shouldn't spend all that time on it. I've been asked by mostly people in the comments, but also just friends in real life, asking, hey, should I go all in on something that I'm not sure is actually going to work? And my answer is always, I bring it back to myself, in that I don't know if everything that I have planned is going to work, but I do it anyway because I love what I do. And I ask them the question, do you love what you're doing? See, we have a very limited time on this earth. And if you're not enjoying the time that you're spending, you're doing something wrong. Now, there's going to be times in your life when it seems like nothing's going right. It's just going down the tubes, I've had those moments in my life. Plenty of them. And through that, I believe what has kept me in it is the love that I have for the game of basketball. I could have quit back in the day when I got cut from teams. I could have just, said, you know what, no, I'm done. I can't take that pain anymore and this pressure. I could have just been done with it, but instead, I stuck with it, and I'm very grateful that I did, because I'm starting to see my work and my training actually come into fruition, and I'm reaping what I have sowed. But truly, ask yourself the question, am I willing to work hard enough to get past the top 1%? Not many people are willing to do that. You know, the champion's mentality is extremely rare. And if you have it, use it, man. I truly believe that anything in life can be trained and become a skill, but this champion's mentality, as I call it, is an instinct. Now, I'm not saying whether or not I have it. I've been told that I do, but I personally wouldn't say that because I don't want to compare myself to champions when I still haven't won one yet. You know, I haven't won a conference championship. I haven't won a division championship. I haven't won any of that. So who would I be to say, oh, I have that mentality? But I heard this quote. I'm trying to remember it on the spot here. And I believe it was, train like you never won and play like you never lost. That's a mantra I like to say to myself. And it really puts into perspective that you have to be a dog on and off the court. And you cannot give up. All right, man, I know this was a shorter Mark talk than usual, but that's really all I have got to say. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And please click on this video because YouTube thinks this is the one that you'll like best. But as always, keep God first. Good luck, bro. I'll see you, man.